Hey, what's going on guys, First Tech Hub here. So the Infinix S5 Lite and the Tecno Camon 12A are the hottest low-end devices with a punch hole display from both brands, and I believe going forward, punch hole displays will be a dominant thing when it comes to smartphone design in 2020. So I guess both brands here are on the right track. So in today's video, I'm going to compare the two side by side to see if there are any similarities because they look nearly identical, and also to see which is the best overall device, so to help you make that purchase decision. But before I begin, please kindly hit on that subscribe button to join this awesome family, and turn on your post notifications so you get alerted when I upload a new video. The Tecno Camon 12A sets itself as an entry-level camera-centric device. The Infinix S5 Lite on the other hand follows slightly in that direction, but which of these offers the best value for your money? They both cost about the same. Okay, if I want to admit to the cost, the Infinix S5 Lite cost about 42,500 naira, while the Camon 12A cost about 41,500. So you see, it's a 1,000 naira difference between the two, which I feel that shouldn't be a deal breaker for anyone who's looking for a decent smartphone in this category. I feel the main selling point on both phones has to be the punch hole display, which is one of the striking features both phones portray. About the design and build quality, both devices don't disappoint here. Both devices are very beautiful, well made and pleasing to look at. There is a substantial difference in weight distribution between the two, and that's because the S5 Lite comes with a 6.6-inch display, while the Camon 12A is slightly lower at 6.52-inch display. Of course, they look nearly identical. From the front to the back, they look the same. The only distinguishing factor about the two is the edges of the curve on the rear side of the Camon 12A, while the Infinix S5 Lite stays flat just like last year's S4. They both feel and look like a premium device. So the Infinix S5 Lite and the Tecno Camon 12A packs an IPS LCD. They are sharp with vivid colors. Watching YouTube videos on these two devices are very okay. Both devices offer cinematic and immersive viewing experience due to that Infinity O display. There's still plenty of room for improvement when it comes to the display, but I guess you can't really complain considering the price you're paying for this. They are not the brightest if you intend to use them on direct sunlight, but they are among the best in the budget display segment. The performance department is where you will begin to see some slight difference between the two. The Infinix S5 Lite packs an Helio P22 octa-core CPU, while the Tecno Camon 12A packs an Helio A22 quad-core processor. Both devices come with a 3GB of RAM and a 32GB of internal storage, Android 9 Pie on top of their respective custom skin, and a 4000 mAh battery. So you see, one uses an octa-core CPU while the other uses a quad-core CPU. With this in mind, multitasking capabilities should be better on the S5, right? That's true though, but in real world use, performance was close to each other. Multitasking was better on the S5 Lite, no doubt. Web browsing, social media activities, and basically day-to-day tasks are okay on both phones, and the experience is okay with some minimal lag here and there. Gameplay on the Infinix S5 Lite was a little better than the Camon 12A. The user interface is the same on both phones. You get basically the same thing on both phones apart from some minor tweaks here and there. So the Infinix S5 Lite and the Tecno Camon 12A has a downfiring speaker, so as a result, you can unintentionally block the sound during gameplay. Speaking of the speakers, the sound that comes out of both phones are okay. Just listen to it yourself and tell me what you think about it in the comment section below. Both phones pack an impressive 4000 mAh battery, and they both have sustainable endurance. Both can last for a day and a half before needing to recharge. They don't have support for fast charging, so recharging both phones from 0 to 100% took more than 3 hours, which is one of the downsides here. Now let's talk about the camera. This is where you begin to see some noticeable difference. On the rear, the Infinix S5 Lite packs a 3-camera sensor, and the Camon 12A comes with 3 cameras as well. The S5 Lite comes with a 16 megapixels main sensor, a 2 megapixels depth sensor, and a QVGA sensor for low light, which I feel is pointless because you're not going to see the real benefit of it. The S5 Lite lacks an ultra-wide lens, which would have been a much better option than the QVGA camera that we have here. On the selfie camera, the S5 Lite comes with a 16 megapixels camera, which is a plus for the S5 Lite. The Camon 12A packs a 16 megapixels main sensor, a 5 megapixels ultra-wide sensor, and a 2 megapixels depth sensor. The selfie camera on the Tecno Camon 12A is a little lower with an 8 megapixels. So, the Infinix S5 Lite does not have an ultra-wide camera. I'm not going to include that or talk about that. Already, it is a win for the Tecno Camon 12A. Okay guys, so when it comes to the rear camera on both devices, I would say images on both phones are sharp with good amount of details, especially if the lighting condition is good. High dynamic range looks good on both phones, contrast levels, highlights, and exposure are decent on both phones. However, the S5 Lite perform a little better when it comes to high dynamic range and color accuracy. Just go through them and tell me what you think about it in the comment section below. Okay, switching to the front camera changes things a lot for us. The Tecno Camon 12A and the Infinix S5 Lite does a pretty decent job with its selfie images. It is sharp, well saturated, and I am satisfied with the colors we have on both phones. However, selfie images on the S5 Lite has more details than the Camon 12A, especially when you zoom in. The S5 Lite image retain more details than the Camon 12A, and that's the 16 megapixels working its wonders for the S5 Lite here. The background lacks any forms of details or whatsoever. Both phones cannot handle the amount of light that comes into the selfie camera, resulting in an overexposed background. Portrait shots are okay on both phones, good edge detection, satisfying portrait selfies on both devices, but they lack those punchy details on the portrait shots and too much of overexposure. Hey, what's going on guys? First Tech Up here. So this is basically what you get when you record using the front facing camera on both devices. And as you can see here, I think the Infinix S5 Lite is doing a better job here when it comes to color reproduction and high dynamic range as well than the Tecno Camon 12A. Both are actually okay. I think I like both, but I'm actually leaning towards the Infinix S5 Lite here. Do let me know if you like the audio quality that is coming out of these two devices, and also watch out for the audio icon on each of the screen to know where the audio is coming out from. Both phones record video in 1080p resolution at 30 frames per second with no video stabilization. So your footage will always stay shaky most times unless you get yourself a tripod or a gimbal. The video quality looks good on both phones, but the Camon 12A video introduces some weird imperfection that I don't like, and the colors are a bit off. High dynamic range is much better on the S5 Lite footage than the Camon 12A. Alright guys, there you have it, the Infinix S5 Lite and the Tecno Camon 12A comparison. As you can see, they look very similar in almost every category apart from some slight differences in most areas like the camera and the processing unit. So now the question is, which of these devices will I recommend? Both cost about the same, so which should I buy? Well, I would say buy the Infinix S5 Lite because it has the best overall performance. But if you're a type that cannot do without an ultra-wide camera, then the Camon 12A is the better option for you. Share your thoughts with me in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about these two devices. If you're allowed to choose one out of the two, which would you choose and why? Like and share this video to help someone make a purchase decision, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye bye.